Hello?
Hello. This is Jerreau.
Nice to meet you, man. I'm Emerson.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm good. Just enjoying this LA weather.
You're in LA. That's awesome. What are you doing out there?
I live out here.
Oh, you live out there now? Oh, shoot. Probably should have known that.
Yeah, I've been out here 5 years now.
Very nice. But all right, so if you're ready to get into it, we can get into the official stuff.
Yeah, before we jump in, so I just want to make sure I know who I'm talking to. What's your name again?
Emerson Loria.
Okay, Emerson. Okay. You're at Elon University?
Yep, I'm a student here,
Okay.
and I'm with WSOE 89.3. It's the local station.
Gotcha. Okay, dope. I just wanted to make sure I didn't call you the wrong name.
No, you're good. It's a pleasure. Trust me, I had your name pronounced wrong for a little while. I kept thinking Jerreau.
Gotcha. Yeah, I get that a lot.
But all right, so I'd like to get the elephant out of the room. Fans have waited 4 years for another album from you. What took so long?
Well, to be specific, it was 3 years and 10 months.
Fair enough.
No, I kind of touched on it bits and parts in the album, but I actually worked something up just explaining, the process of creating. Like at least for me, my music is very personal. I'm one of the kind of guys who I have to live it in order to speak it. And then full disclosure, right after my last project, mentally, before my last project dropped, I was like, is music still for me? So with the success of the album, it kind of drew me back in. And so I had to do the whole song and dance of, performing, interviews, visuals. And once that process was over, I still had those same thoughts, like, is music still for me? So it just took me some time to find my voice,
Mm-hmm. Have you always been like this then with your music, and like really just basing it off of experience and living your life?
Yeah. I mean, that's just the only way I know how to create. It's very this is really based off of just things I've been through, things I go through. I don't know any other way to create.
No, that's very valid. That was just interesting. Do you feel like this weight maybe potentially lost you some fans, or do you feel like maybe it just built suspense, or what are your really thoughts on like the fan perspective of things?
I can't say. I think in theory, the idea of consistency and and hitting people over the head as much as possible works, or can work. Or I think the idea that it gives you more chances of people latching on. At the same time, I'm like, good art is good art,
Mm-hmm.
and so you just have to weigh. If I didn't take this time, I wouldn't have been able to put this body of work out. It would have been something else, and who knows what that would have sounded or looked like.
Yeah, for sure. So in my opinion, you came out the gate swinging then on this new album here, Too Deep for Intro. How do you decide on like the order of tracks for an album?
My process. So usually what happens is, I start first. I don't any song I finish, I put out. So I'm very like strategic about the songs, because I just don't. I'm not a fan of just wasting material. So usually what happens is it starts with a song, and then I build around that. So with this particular project, I usually lay out all the production, determine what order it sounds good in, what makes sense for me, and then I'll add words to it.
Do you mind sharing what song particularly that you built around on your latest project?
The very first song that I recorded for this one was Same Team.
Awesome. That's one of my favorite ones on. So what was it about that song that made you feel like that was your building block?
it was more so that was the first song I completed. So at that point, once I start diving into it, then I can see, okay, is this a direction I want to go in? Because the hook on that song originally was something totally different, and I didn't like it at first. You know, it was one of them things where something was off for me. I was like, okay, this isn't working. And then finally, after I was probably 80% done with the album, a new hook came to me. So it's just one of those things where there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's kind of, I'm just going off of feeling and emotion and what makes sense as I'm piecing songs together.
How often does that happen to where you kind of change a song when you already thought you kind of had it done?
It doesn't happen too often for me. In this particular case, I just knew the hook just didn't work. Just because for me, like I'm not a studio rat, you know. So when I go into the studio, I've already practiced the song, hundreds of times. I've already had the hook, I've rehearsed it, and it makes sense to me. So once I record it, it's like, okay, the song I've already vetted it. I've already, did my first, second, third draft, and this is the final product. So it doesn't happen too often. But in this case, I just knew the hook wasn't working for me.
Interesting. All right. So what kind of going on the album specifically now, what do you think are the key differences between Never How You Plan and Keep Everything Yourself, if any at all?
I think more so it's a time thing, in the sense of, and hopefully, as time passes, everybody matures a little, grows up a little. So I think I can definitely hear the growth and the maturation in my music, and I can also hear it in my thought process. Just some of the things that I'm saying and questioning, are things that I may not have been thinking about, on the last project.
Okay. So you're from Ohio, correctly? Correct?
Yeah, originally from Columbus, Ohio.
So you don't hear too many artists coming from there. Do you mind kind of going on what it was like growing up?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had a vibrant music scene growing up. I hung out with a lot of dudes that were just older than me, and that allowed me to learn, about artistry. And so, like, for me, I think the reason why you may not hear a lot of, it may seem like you don't hear like a lot of art coming from Ohio just because of the population. It's like 11 million people in Ohio versus 9 million people in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So the percentage of people that flock to your music in Columbus is a lot. It's just the numbers just aren't there. Mm-hmm. But a lot of great art, has come from Ohio for sure. It's just not a destination place for a lot of people.
That's true. Yeah, I don't mean any disrespect. It's just not like you don't hear many artists, shouting out Ohio all the time.
Right. And to that point, I think a lot of artists who do come from Ohio, I won't say it's like a taboo, but it's just different. Like when you come from one of these, top 5 metro cities, Los Angeles or New York, people, they care that you come from those places, you know what I mean? And it's almost like they rally around you because you come from those places. So coming from like smaller markets, I'm definitely a fan of repping, talking about where I'm from, and making it known. It just doesn't necessarily have the same stinger as like, I'm from New York or I'm from LA,
Yeah, I got you.
At least in the media.
That's true. So you kind of mentioned on a lot of the older artists, helping you out in your early career. Which artists in particular do you think have had the biggest influence on you?
I would probably say the likes of the Kanyes and the Jay-Z's. Like growing up, definitely. These days, I've always took a liking to art. R&B, you know, just because, you know, my mom would play, you know, Mary J. Blige throughout the house frequently. So today it's a healthy balance of, you know, of rap and R&B, you know, but a little more R&B these days.
Why do you say that?
Just because it just, I don't know. I think in my heart of hearts, I wish I could sing.
No, that's good. That's good. I was just curious.
You know, so it's like, you know, even there's an interlude on there called "If I Could Sing," and that's what I would have said if I could sing. You know.
No, you're good. So going to your song "Really Got It," this is at least numbers-wise your biggest hit. You know, I've tried putting you onto other friends of mine, and they kind of write you off as kind of like just a one-hit wonder. Does that ever bother you that people might look at it that way?
I mean, I think it might be what I say, shallow way to look at it. It's one of those things. For example, like I look at Jay-Z, for example, and it's like, you know, some people will only know Jay-Z for Hard Knock Life, New York, 99 Problems. Like, they don't have any idea about the 12, 13 bodies of work he puts out. They just know his singles. So if you only know, you know, my hits, I'm okay with that. You know, he's had a hell of a career with having, you know, if some people only know him by his biggest records.
Fair enough. You mentioned, you kind of hint at, you know, going deeper and appreciating your music more so. Do you feel your music, the longer you sit with it, the more you appreciate it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of, I listen to a lot, you know, but the things that I keep going back to are things that tug on me emotionally, you know what I'm saying? That like, that has, you can just tell, like, it means something to the artist, too, you know? And so, like, I think, you know, I like to say that, you know, I make lifestyle music, so it's like, you know, you got to live with it, you know? Clean to it, you know, drink to it, hear it in different settings, drive to it, because, you know, like, I appreciate bodies of work, and that's why, for this particular album, we didn't necessarily release a single. It was like, you know, I want you to receive it and feel it in its totality.
You mentioned your music being, you know, lifestyle music and for all these different situations. Is that consciously going through your head when you're making these songs and like what they will sound like in these different parts of life?
I think maybe subconsciously, because it's not like I don't just sit there and say, yo, I want this song to be like, you know, the club song, or I want this song to make you feel, you know, emotional. You know, it's not that. It's just more so, and maybe it's subconsciously because in general, that's the kind of music that I listen to or gravitate to more regularly.
Oh, that's great. What do you think's the biggest draw to you and your music?
I mean, I think it's the authenticity, you know. I try to be vulnerable in my music. I try to, it's almost like I'm talking to myself when I'm rapping to people, you know, reminding myself about these ideas, you know, reminding myself to, you know, ask questions, reminding myself to take care of myself, you know, so it's, and I think people can relate to that, you know, just people who've seen, you know, how good life could or should be and inspired for that.
No, I completely agree. I mean, that's my biggest draw to you. It seems like there's a lot of passion behind what you say.
Definitely.
So, what's next for you then? Are you just living life to move towards the next album, or do you have a tour coming up? What's kind of the next step?
Yeah, so I'm meeting with my agent soon, so we can, you know, map out or figure out what makes sense tour-wise, show-wise. You know, and you know, keep making music. You know, I'm in a good space creatively, and it's totally different from where I was at mentally with the last album drop. You know, so you know, I'm still working on content, still, you know, writing, still recording.
That's great. All right, so last question here. If you could have anyone featured on a song for you, who would it be and why?
Wow, that's a good one. Dead or Alive?
Dead or alive, I guess. I didn't specify, so I guess it's up for you to interpret.
Okay. I think I'll go Frank Ocean.
Why is that?
I think he's an amazing writer. And I can tell that he puts a lot of thought into his art, into his music. And it just resonates with me, So I think I would go Frank, for sure.
Awesome. All right, well, that's all I have for you. Do you have anything for me? Any questions or concerns?
No, I just want to say, I appreciate, you reaching out, and keep convincing your your friends that to listen to the sound.
I'll certainly try. Same Team's the one I'm gonna start pushing around a little more. I think that's one of my favorites, at least.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, man. Appreciate it.